this is yet another way of dealing with a Visage. You've got a decent wave clear coming out with a Splinter Blast, and can really make it work quite nicely up against what Vici has. So a great response from LGD, and fits into their draft quite nicely. We'll see whether or not VG can kind of counteract that Bristle Wyvern sustain that is in play here.
And that Wyvern does seem to be quite a clever kind of way of dealing with the Visage. I do like that. Pretty much anyone that gets caught out by that Winter's Curse, as long as the Visage is around with all its units, is going to get melted quite fast. So now Vici Gaming, probably not liking what they're seeing in that Wyvern, they do go back into the Death Prophets. They're running a very similar Game 1 draft, putting their faith back into that DP of Ori, be able to carry them through that mid-game. And well, that does force the Visage to either be in the safe lane or the off lane again. It probably will be Yang playing the Visage in all fairness. Like Eurus, I believe will probably just take a very stable kind of position 1 core. Only going to be a matter of what he plays, though.
Yeah, again, for VG, I think this lineup is it's just so controlling. Like, they are going for the objectives here. For sure, with a Shadow Shaman, with a DP, with a Visage. They just don't want any of those towers up standing at all, and that's going to be key for this lineup. You can't allow the DP to just use the Exorcism without finding a tower or at least getting some chip damage off. VG will have to play close to those objectives when popping their ults to get the most value from this lineup they've made for themselves.
Oh, Vici, one more ban left. They got rid of the PL there, and we saw LGD getting rid of the Slark.
10 seconds remaining.
The final ban outs now. They still seem to believe that LGD is looking for another safe lane carry to have. What's really left here? Like you've got things like the Troll, which really isn't great, I guess, anymore. We saw the Lifestealer come out before. That seems okay. They'll get rid of the Broodmother for Vici. Alright.
Yeah, just take away that cheese last pick. I think VG, they've got a bunch of options. Like, if they're looking purely at the Bristleback as an issue, they could respond with a Razor, just run that safe and play a really aggressive, fast game, or even toss it off, have the Visage safe if they wanted, and just, again, tempo themselves as fast as LGD played in game number 2. I think the Razor will enable that kind of playstyle if they look for it. I mean, you've got enough control for the Ember Spirit anyway. The only real issue that stands out is really that Bristle. It's a lot tankier, and again, it just mitigates that Visage's presence, so Razor would be a good response if LGD doesn't ban it out, and they do get the Luna out first, so that does stay in the want something to just handle the Bristleback.
I'm surprised the DK hasn't been picked up, of all things. Like, it seemed to be so popular prior to this series happening, and now neither team seems to care about the Dragon Knight. I mean, LGD could definitely still go down that route if they want.
5 seconds
it doesn't seem too bad in this game. VG?
Yeah, it could fit in for VG as well. That does add a lot more push, and again, it's an early timer for VG to play around. Leaves them with little room for scalability, but we've seen DKs go for the early ags and just take over. They go with the Monkey King, so I suppose that is another way to counteract the Bristleback. Maybe play around the damage you can pump out there as well. Gives them team fight, and it does benefit a lot from the item changes, particularly with the Echo Saber into the Silver Edge. That's more than likely going to be in play here for VG, as there is a Bristle to break.
5 seconds remaining.
LGD. Last pickup. It's a very fast-paced sort of lineup here from Vici. They've got a very fast-paced sort of lineup themselves, LGD, but they've got to really win out these lanes and perhaps just have something like a real hard carry to fall back on here. Unless they're going to run that position 1 Ember and just give Somnus something else. You know, the Conquer is still available if they did want to give Somnus something to be able to really activate their mid-game, and No, they are going to go for that position 1 Terrorblade. The LGD putting their faith in Chalice's Terrorblade this time around, and Somnus will take the Ember mid. Interesting draft. It kind of makes me wonder as well, would you rather see Eurus go mid on the Monkey King now, knowing that that Ember's going to be there, and put Ori in the safe lane instead?
Yeah, that's it's gonna be an interesting one to see whether or not VG does go with that. I think DP mid up against Ember is still, it's not too shabby. Like, again, it's a lane the Ember can hold as soon as he gets levels in his shield, but the DP, if you play your cards right, shouldn't be under threat. So it's really just down to how much either side wants to posture. If you did throw the DP up instead, it does have a lot more damage towards that bristle if you are worried about that. But again, the Monkey King can kind of just build up his stacks and try to trade, although his armor isn't the best to cop those hits. It's a bit of a toss-up for VG, but they've got those options. LGD, and the Terrorblade is there. It's a really good Terrorblade game because there's not much in terms of illusion clear, but you are constrained to Metamorphosis. So there's some key timers here for LGD and for VG. The ults for VG can be really important. The Serpent Wards, the Exorcism, and the Familiar usage, whereas LGD, it's all about Metamorphosis on Chalice. If it's up, they can farm or fight. If it's down, they've got to play it a bit safe and just kind of let VG do what they want, because they just can't fight on the Terrorblade without that.
Prepare for battle.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be key for LGD to, again, get that timing on FY, just to get the control out, get the influence they want that Shaker to have. And again, we saw him do it in game number 2. There is a reason why this is a ban out when you play against LGD.
I apologize, by the way. It seemed like my mic muted itself again for 20 seconds just as we got into that game. So sorry about that. I've got to figure out what the hell's going on there. Just standard problem starting as the cast is happening, but figure it out later on. Looks like we're all fine now. But I was saying that FY's Earthshaker was quite scary in game 2, and well, FY, if you can have a similar performance to that second game they just went through, might be a pretty hard game for Vici. Still, be a rather passive start between these two. 2 banner runes for each side. No contest. Though it does appear that Vici Gaming intend to try and run an aggressive tri-lane to start off their laning stage. Perhaps just wanting to give Yang a nice start on that Visage, and he does once again go for that level 1 Soul Assumption. So it is very easy to try and set up here for a first blood if you can get enough damage off.
Yeah, it's gonna really enable that Visage to find that key first kill. It is going to be old 11 up top. They do have an early lane swap out, and we'll see whether or not they will have enough in the tank to eat through that bristle, but it is level 1. It's not that tanky yet.
Oh, but the creep wave is just way too far forward. I don't think they actually catch him here. They'll try, but I mean, it's going to be some decent harass. They could try to dive, but no, they're not going to bother. Old 11 will be forced to just salve up in this safe lane, and well, DY, he's not going to bother either. He'll go back down to the bot lane. It's just a great block out from Old 11, blocking that creep wave and not allowing them to have the position to go after that first blood. There is still being an aggressive tri-lane here from LGD, though, which could make it quite hard for Ori and DY to actually secure any forms of farm in this lane.
Yeah, it's they really just want to give Chalice that real smooth start in the TV. D1 trying to be up forward.
They got the meta up. They'll go for the Fisher. DY is going to get fairly low, but Chalice won't bother chasing him down too far. There's just no point to it. He'll get back to farming. But he could go after that courier, but he can't quite reach for that either. So leave that be. And of course, the one lane we haven't looked at yet, the mid lane. Eurus is going to be up against Somnus. They did end up running the Monkey King vs Ember matchup. And for now, Somnus appears to be okay with this. He did force out the salve usage there from Eurus. But Eurus is definitely overtaking in terms of CS.
Yeah, it's a nice early start for Eurus, and again, it's just down to how much the Monkey King can bully a melee hero like the Ember Spirit, although early rotation out, just trying to disrupt some Eurus's control in the lane, but it's not going to be enough to really bully him out just yet.
No, Somnus is going to chase him down. Boundless just on the creep wave, trying to secure that range creep. Somnus is going to be able to get the deny off, and Eurus get another Jingu Mastery proc going for himself, but FY is just around the corner with another Fisher out, and Somnus is going to be able to secure the first blood on Eurus, and that's a real problem for Vici Gaming. You can't lose this mid lane in a Monkey King vs Ember matchup.
They definitely can't allow that. It's FY with a movement out early on, really investing in LGD having that good start, and VG might have to consider maybe tossing the Shaman down, maybe tossing that Clockwork down at some point, just to prevent Eurus from getting completely overrun from this early aggression.
Well, Somnus will just continue trying to farm up the lane. Eurus, of course, will get back to being aggressive with that Jingu, but there's FY again to block him up with the fish on. Well, Somnus is going to get in there with the Flame Guard now. He does have the Jingu Mastery, which means he can get a lot of lifesteal, but that Fisher just lasting so long. But he does wait it out. He gets the Boundless Strike. And eventually Somnus will be forced to walk away. DY, of course, did make the rotation as the clock, but he wasn't really required.
Yeah, and this early start for LGD is allowing them to find just a bit more farm. Their lanes are going quite nicely. Chalice on the Terrorblade is top of the last hits board. He's not really being slowed down at all.
Dang, oh, what a Fisher. FY. What can I say about FY's Earthshaker, John? It's... I said it last game. He's everywhere.
Yeah, it's there is a reason why you banned that out, and LGD's been able to pick it up just fine. Surprised that VG doesn't prioritize that as ban out, but they are paying the price. Yang, again, with his lane swap out, can get some damage onto the Terrorblade. It's just, he's also very vulnerable in these early levels. Not that tanky at all, and there's only so much you can expect from your supports.
X-Nova, looks like he'll be dead. Nice setup there out of DY on that Clockwork. Able to get a nice easy kill onto X-Nova. He's left Chalice really just alone down at that bot lane on that Terrorblade, but he'll be alright. Just trying to secure some farm, and he's been doing a great job of it so far. Currently top of the last hits board, just in front of Eurus.
Radiant structures
They'll have a bit of a fight over these 5-minute bounties. Fisher out from FY, but DY is stuck in his own cogs. Chalice will join in, but he wants to get out of range of DY's battery assault first, and eventually they do get the kill, but now Eurus is there as well. But can he do anything? He'll go after FY with the shackles out from the Shaman, but the Boundless, he does not connect, which means he does not get the lifesteal. Great sidestep out from FY, and that's really unfortunate for Vici. That's the second time that Monkey King's died. And now, Fisher out. Yang, he's gone as well. A triple kill out for Chalice.
Yeah, this is way too much to bleed out here onto LGD. VG, they can't afford to play from behind with this kind of lineup. LGD takes over, and they are finding a lot more on the map. They can grow a bit too big. Like, this is not the start you see Terrorblades go. You do not see Terrorblades go 4-0. That's just way too much to bleed out, and even while that's happening, you know, it's not like you're applying enough pressure on old 11. Like, sure, his farm's not great, but that's a bristleback that's still going to hit 6 at a good time and is still going to be really hard to deal with if he does just want to play the nuisance bristle, which just doesn't die.
PYW has to be a little bit cautious. Y going to be around, but DY going to show himself in the Clockwork, and now Eurus also going to jump in, but here comes Somnus. It's just going to be an all-out brawl in this Radiant jungle. They're going to go after X-Nova first. He will go down. DY is falling rather low here to Somnus, and looks like he probably will also die. He's going to try for the neutral deny, and FY also being shackled up. He'll go down. PYW able to secure that kill on the Shaman. Ultimately, it is a positive trade out for Vici Gaming as they did find a 2-for-1.
Yeah, it's a nice win for VG this time around. They are kind of counteracting the movements from LGD. That does free up space though, although Old 11 is caught out.
Yeah, he shows up down at the bot lane, but that's going to cost him. PYW easily able to pick up another kill on that Shaman. And these two teams are really going at it. There's just no real downtime with these little engagements we've been seeing. We may see another very, very soon. Although, great dodge out from Eurus with that Mischief. Dodging out that Splinter Blast. Doesn't take any damage. You know what? They might just calm down for a few minutes and actually try and secure some farm up.
Yeah, it's a lot of time given to VG though. Like Ori's been left alone up top. So the DP is actually getting some decent progression. You do have the Exorcism available and they do TP down bot. You want to make use of that spell.
Can they? Another smoke will be there, or rather another TP. What are they really going for? Not going to run into Old 11, but he has vision of them. They'll get a nice D ward, but great deny out there from Old 11. And okay, Ori's going back mid now. So he TP'd bot, they TP'd another bot, and it led to nothing, so they'll go through the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's a bigger tower to take if you will force the ult use out. They are setting up for it, and there you go, just trying to take the objectives.
It's not going to really be that easy though, surely.
Are fortified.
Because Somnus is going to go reset, but he has a double damage room bottled up. You've got Chalice rotating around just in case they're going to need his help. But that's your first Exorcism down. Ori not going to get anything out of this. It was just a casual ulti being thrown out to really see if they could. And now Eurus is going to be chased down. Somnus, he activates the DD. Eurus falling very low and does go down. Ori trying to chase down Somnus, but all the familiars might be enough stun, and they do get the trade. Alright, so you got the trade. Eurus for the Somnus Ember.
Yeah, it's not the best, because again, you're not transitioning that Exorcism to a tower push, but you are happy with finding that pick off. The big thing here, though, is that all of these fights are happening while Chalice gets free space in that jungle. You don't have anyone from VG really maximizing this space. Everyone's forced to be active. So if you look at Chalice, he's making good progress towards that Yasha, and you know, the Terrorblade's going to be a major factor. By the 15-minute mark, you might see enough farm and Chalice for him to join in. And by then, VG, they should really try to find some answers. They need to take control on the map. They need levels on their supports. Just those Serpent boards are going to be pivotal for PYW.
I'm kind of curious to see what Chalice builds into after the Yasha. Like whether he'll go into the Manta, whether he'll try for the Sanjin Yasha build we've been seeing a little bit. Out of God King, I believe it was. Bot lane, going to be a bit of a dive there onto DY. Somnus will turn back around going after that Clockwork, and eventually DY will end up dying out. They are rotating one in, and it will be PYW. In fact, Serpent Wards will be dropped, and Ori will also rotate in. Meanwhile, Somnus is still trying to kill DY. He's just not dying. And they don't actually get him. So Old 11 dies, and they get nothing out of him. In fact, Old 11's courier dies as well.
It's a massive win for VG. Really good timing on hitting 6 for DY. Getting that hook shot stun off, bought enough time for him to bail out. And LGD have to be a bit wary with how far deep they dive. That is giving FY space down mid. He's very close to his blink, 800 gold away. Again, that's another timber that LGD can play around and really start forcing better fights out on their end. We all know what happens when FY has that item up on his Shaker.
We do. He's really been focusing down on ensuring he just picks that up. X-Nova. Can be chased down from DY a little bit, but it'll be alright. They're back into that mid lane, Vici Gaming. They really want that mid tier 1 tower.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But LGD are really ensuring it does go nowhere.
It's a good way to keep it in check. They don't want to bleed out those objectives. As long as they maintain control of their jungle, Chalice gets free farm. VG don't have any cores that's farming up as actively. Eurus is actually rushing the MKB, and they catch out Somnus.
Yeah, we'll go for the chains onto that Shaman. That'll be it. He'll just remnant out of there, and it's back into that mid lane where Ori, he may pop his ultimate. No, they just kind of force the wave in and back off. Bot lane, DY, he'll be chased down. Old 11 doesn't really scout him out, and now Ori rotates as well on the DP, but Chalice is still going onto that T1 tower. Eurus going to show himself. DY going to go for that hook shot onto that Winter Wyvern. They just go get him before he gets that Winter's Curse off, and now Chalice gets DY, but they're going to lose Old 11. And that's another exorcism being expended here from Vici Gaming. That may lead to really nothing. I mean, they definitely get some kills, which is nice. But apart from that, it's not going to lead to any kind of objective.
Nah, and you do buy space for Yang to push out the tier 1 top. That's a nice little win for them, but they're ready to fight here, LGD.
Yeah, Fisher comes out, but a great hex from PYW, and now the shackles onto Somnus. He can't escape, he will go down. FY, Primal Spring will be right on top of that Shaker. Nice Winter's Curse though from X-Nova, and that might mean DY just is dead. In fact, no, he does survive. I don't really feel like you really want to let this Earthshaker die. He's just so close to that Blink Dagger. You'd rather just let him farm that up. They don't have the meta anyway, so they can't really get this T1 tower down. And they might have to focus their attention onto Yang, because he's forcing the mid wave again.
The Fortify is forced down, so they're going to have an opportunity to perhaps push down mid, but without the Exorcism, that is a tricky call. They do have the wards, though, and UYW is setting himself up. They do have a bit of a smoke active in the back.
DY, hook shot straight onto FY, that Earthshaker being controlled up. Hex as well onto X-Nova, Echo being committed, but it's not going to do too much. Here comes Somnus, straight onto DY, now chasing down PYW, but they got the shackles once again. Somnus will be forced to remnant out. Another 2-for-1 trade for the side of Vici Gaming. And this might be that point where they do get this T1 mid tower.
Yeah, they don't even need the wards anymore because the Fortify came out earlier, so a free objective for them. This is enough time for the Exorcism to be back up soon. So Ori might look to force another fight out with that ult up. We'll have to be cautious of Chalice as he will have Meta up as well, and he is very close to his Manta style. Just about a few hundred gold away, and just about actually 30 gold off from that ultimate orb. So the Terrorblade is starting to find the stats, and they haven't been able to find even a single kill on Chalice. You really need to start putting a lid on that TB soon. It can really overtake the games, as even that blink timing for FY lining up quite nicely with these pickups.
Ori, FY, he thought about the Fisher. Doesn't bother yet. You got the blink up, but no echo. On top, Somnus gets hexed up again. PYW just perfect on that Shaman with Eurus and the Familiars there, but no, they don't actually get the stuns off. Somnus is able to remnant out of there safely.
It's a missed opportunity for VG, and they are really trying to keep that lid on certain heroes, and LGD, they've got an opening.
Not quite. It seems like they're just posturing around their dire jungle, just ensuring that Vici Gaming aren't around that area as well. Both teams will just kind of sit back for a little bit and take some time for themselves, get some more farm up.
Yeah, it's giving an opportunity to Old 11 to farm up. I mean, he had a bit of a slower start in the Bristle. He died a lot early, but he has his Vanguard and trying to force an issue with DY, but forces a response from VG.
Hook shot in from DY. Ori going to be there with the Exorcism, but Old 11, he's going to try and make a run for it. Boundless Strike does land from Eurus, and now the Hex out from PYW. It's going to ensure they do secure another kill onto this offlane Bristleback. Well, Yeah.
It's a heavy response from VG. You're seeing the Exorcism pop again with no real objectives. They do smoke up. Looks like Eurus does want to hunt for more, but they're not finding that bot tier 1. And the Exorcism doesn't lead to an objective. So a bit of a waste from VG. LGD uses this time to farm on Chalice, to farm on Somnus. They've been happy enough to sacrifice Old 11. It's not affecting their pace. And I think they understand that they're getting enough space on Chalice to really carry the weight later down the line.
He's coming out from X-Nova up in that top lane, but he's just going to make a TP out. They may have realized how many heroes are here from Vici Gaming. Vici. So they'll just try and secure some wards in that Dire jungle, keep control up there. Meanwhile, Chalice slowly pushing that bot wave in there with FY. They are going to start heading towards that mid lane. They'd love to try and secure this tier 1 mid tower, but again the Hex out onto Somnus. Shackles, however, not going to latch onto that Ember, and the Sunder from Chalice will ensure that Somnus can get out of there safely. They'll just wait out another opportunity as Old 11 now will take the front lines for the side of LGD. But Vici Gaming are just going to ignore that bristleback and just go for somebody else. And that somebody else appears to be the Roshan now. They'll drop the Surf Wards, they'll throw everything else in and start going for it.
That's a really big objective for VG. LGD, they don't have the curse, but they do have the slam if they want to play into it. It's just that FY is way too far out, and this is gonna go.
They are not reacting at all to this Roshan, perhaps not realizing it's happening. And there it goes. Roshan down. It is going to be picked up by Eurus on that Monkey King. PYW will be down at that bot lane to defend the tier 2 tower, so there's no objectives going down here for LGD. And you're getting close to that point where Eurus has an MKB up now. In fact, there it is.
It's a huge power spike for the Monkey. You're not seeing the equal item build-up from Chalice. I mean, he does have that Dragon Lance now, which is great. It's just not quite as impactful and does allow a big opening for VG to keep playing that aggressive.
Bot lane PYW, he does go down to Somnus. And Somnus is just going to try and apply pressure onto that tier 2 and maybe force back the side of Vici Gaming. But here comes Ori, just with the Yules out. Somnus eventually will just remnant out of there, but now DY goes for a hook. It doesn't connect, but they get the balance off. Eurus just going to chase down FY. This should lead to a kill, but here comes Old 11, blocking the way. And while all that's been happening, Chalice, he does secure the T1 mid tower.
That's a good objective to have. Balances out control on the map. They still do have the Winter's Curse at the least from X-Nova, so they can try playing aggressive here. They know that the Exorcism's still down for a bit longer. LGD just gonna start invading that jungle and slowly build that farm up. I mean, even Old 11 on that Bristle, right? Like, he's almost there with the Hood of Defiance into the Crimson Guard, and once that timing's there for the Bristle, LGD is gonna be a lot tankier in front. VG, they're gonna need to find a way to counteract that durability here.
Eurus barely missing out on Old 11. Nice TP out from that Bristle. So LGD going to keep playing defensively up against Vici until they see that perfect moment. And there's nothing wrong with playing defensively either, because Chalice is still getting heaps and heaps of farm on this Terrorblade. He's way past the side of Vici Gaming in terms of net worth. Top lane, X-Nova will be chased down and is forced to commit the Winter's Curse to get away from Eurus. With that going down now, they'll go after the tier 2 top tower. Serpent Wards were dropped. Old 11, he'll be there to try and get rid of these Serpent Wards, and looks like he'll be able to do so just fine.
It's a decent amount of gold for Old 11 to pick up as well. So, again, accelerating that progress towards the Crimson Guard. Just about 30 gold off until that aura item is up. They are still clumping up here, but they don't quite have the numbers to burst through the Bristle, and Once more, LGD using this time well. Chalice continues to farm. Just a few gold away from the next ultimate orb. That just leaves him one part away from that Scotty. It's a major power spike for the Terrorblade. Just allows them to fight in, mitigate the sustain that even the Death Prophet can pump out, and gives a lot more presence overall to LGD's lineup. So, despite losing, a couple of things here and there, LGD, they still maintain their lead, and they are keeping VG in check. Not quite finding the openings, although X-Nova.
Top lane, X-Nova. He won't have the curse this time. He'll Cold Embrace, but ultimately will die. Eurus, he did commit the Wukong's command for that, but he really wants to just secure this tier 2 top tower. He's going to be able to get it with Yang around as well.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Chalice, bot lane on that Terrorblade, is going to be able to try and trade. And does do so, but there's a lot of TPs there. DY, he'll look for a hook shot. That angle's going to be blocked off by the illusions of Chalice, but now Boundless Strike does connect, still hookshot does not. Great micro with those illusions. Now Chalice, he'll turn around with the meta. Eurus is going after Old 11, and they've got to choose a target to jump on. DY will go down to FY, who was just taking him out by himself, and now Somnus, seeing that, will go forward with the double chains, catching up PYW first, then going after Eurus. Echo being committed, but it was only on the Familiars. It actually missed out on the Visage. And Ori still being controlled. They'll get the Aegis on Eurus. They'll find the second kill now. And there's just things everywhere right now, but Yang should go down with Ori, as they are continuously being surrounded here by LGD. Old 11 will start slowing him up. And with that Metamorphosis damage out from Chalice, LGD will be able to get a triple kill and win this one out.
It's too much to lose out, VG. I mean, they just were split up way too much in that fight. Again, they're being isolated in clusters. LGD's free to clean up. And when the focus is shifted like that, you just don't have enough with VG's lineup. So LGD win that fight out. They still build up. Chalice does finish up that Scotty. That was a fight without that item, and Terrorblade does hit a lot harder now with that up and running. Yeah, not going to have the meta though, so this is some downtime for LGD. Just going to play calm, continue to farm up. You do have a lot more that can build up.
Hook shot onto FY with the Boundless Strike out. Eurus will chase him down, and they do secure that kill. Old 11 not really able to help out, but he's going to try for the Arcane. Doesn't get it. Eurus will take it on the Monkey.
It's time for VG. I mean, they've got that Bloodstone up in Ori, so there's a little bit more regen coming out on our DP. A little bit more sustain and more presence in these fights. It's just that they have been able to isolate her. So VG needs to start playing around the Exorcism, try to drag it towards the tower. We just haven't seen that happening all too often for VG, and that really has stalled out their progress towards those objectives. There's still a tier 1 down bot. They've not been able to clear out at all, and they haven't really approached any of those tier 2s, the tier 2 mid, anytime recently. So it's a lot of control LGD still maintains on the map. That's not exactly what VG's lineup wants to get done, but a very push-heavy strat.
LGD still holding out. Chalice feeling confident with that Eye of Skadi up, wants to start making a play. They smoke up as 3. Hurricane Pike also up on Chalice. There'll be a BKB to come out on Eurus now. They are going to run straight into each other. Ori will break the smoke of FY. Rocket Flare, hook shot out from DY, but he's going to hook straight into Chalice. But they've got the ward surrounding FY on that Earthshaker, and he will go down. But now that Cold Embrace holding down Ori, they'll be able to secure the Death Prophet kill. And here comes Somnus, trying to go straight after Eurus, forcing that BKB to be used up. He'll try and TP, but there's so much damage around him, he will just barely make it out in time. That was the 10-second charge of the Monkey King being lost.
It's really not the situation you want to see for VG. We've seen this multiple times when you're forced to BKB defensively. Not the best use of that item, and LGD, again, finding the better end of that trade. They still hold on to the Echo Slam on FY as well, because he was taken out so fast. So even if the Metamorphosis is going to be gone, they still have a big teamfight ult to play around, and they can choose to keep forcing the issue here.
Mid lane, PYW gets a Hex off. Looks like he has found Old 11. Yang is going to be there with the Familiars, and there's the hook shot out from the clock. But here comes FY landing a huge echo, but you need some follow-up to that. PYW will go down to Somnus, but they've lost X-Nova. Old 11 still just trying to survive on the Bristleback, but Eurus is on the chase. They've lost the Familiars. Old 11 thinking about turning back. DY. Fisher is there. Soul Assumption. They're just going to back out. It was a big setup, but the side of LGD just weren't close enough at the time to really capitalize off the echo.
Not quite, but LGD still widen that gap for themselves. 8k advantage so far. Again, they still have a lot of room to grow. You're seeing the Daedalus coming out next for Chalice. Does have the Crystallis up, so the right-click damage is pumping in. VG right now, they need to try to take these fights. They've been disciplined enough with a split up, although DY.
He's been caught out. He gets the Ghost Scepter off, but that's not really going to save him. It'll just delay the inevitable, and Chalice will take all the cogs away as well. And it looks as though it's time for that mid-tier 2 tower for LGD, and they are definitely ahead in terms of net worth. Get the double chains off. Somnus going to rush in. Ori, great fish round from FY, just blocking them out of their base. They're going to make a run for it, or maybe not. They can try to fight back, but Ori is falling way too low to Chalice, and looks like he is going to die. Meanwhile, Somnus still chasing down Yang, almost has the Visage. He's still alive, but Chalice will force stuff up the high ground and secure that kill. Now the Serp wards to be dropped. Chalice has been shackled up at X-Nova. Comes in with the curse onto PYW. The Shaman dies. And Old 11, well, he's in trouble, but he turns his back and FY blocks the way with the Fisher. DY, hookshot, is going to connect on the Earthshaker, so he will secure one. Chalice will turn around now onto Eurus. It's a lot of damage coming out of that Terrorblade, but he needs to get out of there. But Old 11 ends up getting Eurus now on DY. He gets sundered by Chalice, and it looks like he is dying again. And Ori might still be in danger. His exorcism is over, and Old 11 is going to be looking for that nasal goo. He does connect once. And X-Nova going to slow him up. Chalice going to surround, and that's going to be another death onto Ori. And LGD, they may have just snowballed way too out of control now. They're 14k ahead at the 30-minute mark, and it doesn't look to get any easier for this Vici Gaming side.
No, definitely not. It's a tricky one. It looks like LGD will try to opt for the Roche, the safer play, and be able to secure this objective fast. Now, you do have DY with a hook shot. They could try to make a steal. There are just way too many illusions to try to go through that.
Hook is going to be there. They got X-Nova, but he'll take the bounty away. Somnus going to jump in straight after that clockwork, and DY is going to be the target. Nobody there to help him out. He's gone. No buyback on that clock. That was indeed a dieback, and now the Fisher out from FY does connect on Yang with the Force Stuff and the Echo being committed. They really just want Yang dead. He will Guardian Greaves, but Chalice is right behind, and Chalice, or rather Somnus, will be the one to get the kill on the Ember. They even want those Familiars, and they will secure them. There's 3 heroes down with no buyback.
It's a huge bleed out from VG. They do have the wards to play with from PYW, but he's not in a position to really get the defense. So it's a big opening for LGD. Just push right up, and there's just not enough damage anymore from VG. They're not finding that initial engagement they'd want, and the 22k deficit is very hard to play up against.
They'll smoke up, but they want to go high ground. Repair kit being committed. Great chains out from Somnus. Eurus trying to get out of there, but there's so much control. He pops the BKB and dies just as he commits it. Just to make matters that much worse. And that tier 3 tower, it is not going to survive. Look at all the illusions out from Chalice. Eurus will buy back. But you still lost that mid-racks for sure.
going to be straightforward for LGD. They've got the Winter's Curse up and running. They can still opt to force this out, and VG, their tools.
DYW, Hex out on the Ember. Somnus gets forced up down to there. DY, hook shots in. BKB up from Somnus. X-Nova still alive with that Winter's Curse, but Yang is falling very low on the Visage. He does die. Now Chalice, who do you want to focus on? They hex him up with the Spirit Siphon, and now the Shackle. He needs help. Chalice, 4-staffed away, but he had the Aegis. He'll be back. He wants to go back in with that Reflection. Eurus cannot afford to die, but he will. It's a triple kill out for Somnus now on that Ember as they go on Ori as well, and that's the GG call. They are just swarmed by LGD. And they end up finishing the game in 32 minutes with or without that Visage. It doesn't matter for LGD.
They did find the answer there towards VG, and they did manage to take control early. Their draft just getting online a bit too fast, and VG not finding those openings. It really boiled down to the fact that Ori on the DP in the offlane just could not find those early objectives with the Exorcism. They were just constantly forced to fight away from it, and with that, LGD just managed to set the pace and tone of the game.
Well, with that, John, that is it for us tonight. Congratulations to LGD getting the series 2-1 after a Game 1 loss. They did manage to push it back, and of course, we'll be back tomorrow for some more interesting Chinese Dota. We have SAG. They'll be up against Sirius for our first series tomorrow. And for our second series, we'll have PSG.LGD back. And they'll be up against IG. But that is tomorrow night. For now, it is MLP Dota and johnxfire. And, well, we're going to head off. We'll see you tomorrow. And by the way, we will be raiding the BTS1 channel straight after this. So if you wanted to keep watching more Dota, you can stick around. I believe it'll be a few minutes and we'll start a raid. And you can enjoy some CIS and European Dota. Apart from that, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.